Welcome to the Big Apple School podcast. My name is Nina.
And my name is John.
And today we're going to speak, is it even possible to grow greens, tomatoes, and different vegetables on your balcony? So firstly, some words about us. I'm still Nina and I'm still working with kids here in Big Apple School. John, can you tell us some words about you?
Well, I also work at Big Apple School and I help Nina sometimes teach little kids, but more often than not, I help teach the older pupils and the adults.
Do you like this experience teaching both ages, little kids and adults?
Yes, I do. It's varied. They say variety is the spice of life, and it certainly is.
That's great. Speaking about different spices, tell me please, John, have you ever grown some spices on your balcony?
I've never grown anything on a balcony before because I've never had a balcony before. I've never grown spices. I've never tried a ginger or anything like that, but a few herbs, definitely. But balcony gardening is, for me, a new experience, but a balcony isn't that different to a greenhouse, really. Well, I think so anyway.
Yes, actually, but I experience it, and I have a balcony. I think it's a typical stuff here in Russia that every room, actually every flat has got it, and you need to use this space on it. And my balcony is really small, kind of tiny, but I have some systems to help me to grow vegetables even. I grow tomatoes for now, and it's marvelous. I use different containers, even bags, different planters, different pots, and I grow different herbs, even flowers, and I like this experience. And my favorite herb for now is basil, because I really like how it grows and the color is splendid. And I think kind of rosemary, parsley, dills, they must have if we speak about herbs to grow. So tell me please, John, do you remember your first crop you planted?
Oh dear, that's hard. I think the first thing I ever tried growing was parsnips, actually, which I must say I've seen once since I've been in Russia, parsnips once, and I think that was in Galleria 1. But it's a vegetable we eat a lot of in Britain anyway.
Okay, do you know any recipes we can actually do here in Russia using these items from Galleria 1?
Parsnips. Best thing to do with parsnip, treat them like potatoes. Roast them, roast them is best.
Roast them. Okay, so then speaking about roasting, what other crops do you recommend to roast? Something about maybe tomatoes or maybe cucumbers, onions?
Butternut squash, potatoes, onions, definitely. Aubergines. I have tried carrots, doesn't seem to work that well, but butternut squash is my favorite.
Yeah, I think I'm in your camp here. So actually speaking about aubergines and squashes, what camp are you in? Do you prefer squashes or aubergines? Because here in Russia, we prefer to eat squashes in different ways. Aubergines for us like more maybe restaurant food, or for someone who know how to cook it.
I think I prefer aubergines, or no, not aubergines. I prefer butternut squash above all else, to be honest. It's one of my favorite vegetables.
Can you cook them yourself?
Oh, yes.
That's great. Can you actually share your favorite recipe? Maybe the simplest one?
The simplest thing to do with butternut squash is peel it, cube it, roast it with a tiny little bit of oil and some cumin.
Okay, what does it mean, cumin?
Cumin is, yes, a spice.
Is a spice, okay.
A spice that's quite often used in Indian cooking. Not very much. Don't need very much.
It's kind of yellow one, right?
It's a sort of yellowy brown colour. I know you're thinking of turmeric, the yellow one.
Oh, okay. Do you add any garlic there?
I don't, but I could do. That's a good idea. Why not?
Yeah, so it's typical Russian recipe, how to cook squashes, aubergines. Aubergines goes really well with garlic. And me personally, I love very much garlic, and maybe I will grow it next on my balcony, and it would be splendid. So, do you know how to regrow different stuff? Speaking about vegetables and herbs.
Yes, I mean, I've grown in England, I've grown all sorts of things, actually. I've got quite a big garden. I've tried to be self-sufficient in food in the past, even raising sheep and pigs to eat, and chickens. But fruit and vegetables, yes, I've grown most things. There's the only thing I did grow once turnips, and I don't really like them, and I didn't really grow them for myself. I grew them for the pigs, and they didn't eat them either.
Oh, this is actually a sad story about turnips. But why was it so? Was there any, I don't know, like problems with the crops? It was, I don't know, maybe bitter in taste?
No, what it turned out was that I just don't like turnips, and the pigs were very young. And when pigs are young, they'll only eat certain things. When an adult pig would just happily eat, well, they'll eat anything, including you if you give them the chance.
Oh, that's great, actually. Now we know a bit more about pigs and their actual gastronomical habits. So that's it.
So as for balcony gardening, I wouldn't recommend trying to keep a pig on a balcony, because it's not big enough, is it?
Yes, that's it. But I've got a French bulldog, and if you know this actually breed of dogs, they kind of shrink every time the sounds they produce. And my little dog is like a little pig for me. Yeah, so I keep one in my balcony, and it's good. She likes sleeping there, and actually she's fond of pulling out my greens and eat it, and she likes it a lot.
So how big is your balcony, Nina? If you've got a dog and all these vegetables in there, it must be bigger than my balcony.
I think my balcony is about maybe 1.5 meters and in long, and maybe about 1 meter. I have got to, I don't know, to turn in or to feel myself comfortable sitting or whatever. It's not really big, but I think it's just like typical balcony, a typical Russian balcony, simplest and the clearest. And I used to use the space actually, put in different boxes on top of each other. So it's kind of, I don't know, like stellages or whatever. And there's a box into the box, like you're playing with childish cubes. And it's good, it works actually, and every crop, every green get enough light, sunlight from my balcony. And I think it's the best actually idea to use it, because here we have a lot of sun, and we have windows which can, I don't know, like make more sun using some physics or whatever. So everything is okay here. I don't grow anything inside my flat, only outside on the balcony with open windows and whatever. And my dog, she can run whatever she can. So it's okay to run over my sofa, it's okay to run over my balcony, it's okay running over my head. So she's kind of queen in our house, so she can do whatever she wants.
Okay, so with a 1 meter times 1.5 meters balcony,
Yes.
The fundamental problem one has is it's not. There's two things really. What can you grow on a balcony, and what should you grow on a balcony? So what can you grow on a balcony, do you think? Now you've done lettuce and tomatoes. What else do you think?
Yes, lettuce, tomatoes, and herbs. And I think here that everyone can grow herbs even on their kitchen counters, because it's simple. You just need a kind of pot. You can even cut a bottle in a half plastic bottle and fill it with soil, and then try to seed something, babysit it, and then be glad of your achievement and whatever. And it's simple, so you can start it any way, anywhere. And there is no special preparation for this. So you just like feeling like this, the call of the land, and you go buy some seeds and do whatever you want.
Where did you get, you said your favorite was basil.
Yes.
Where did you get your basil seed? I bought some, I think I bought it in OK, and the stuff would not germinate. And I've given up, I couldn't find any more.
Oh, I have some special gardening shops around my house, yes. And I just go there to different old ladies and old gentlemen and ask them for advice, just like, okay, I would like to grow herbs. I would like to grow rosemary and basil and parsley. What can you tell me? And they actually gave me the advice, and they recommended me some sorts of it, and it was good. and it was just like, it feels good, you know, like, yes, we encourage you to do this. It's really good at your age to start gardening. It would be for your good. You will be stronger with it. You will be better with it. And I was, yes, I'm a superhero who is actually ready for farming. Maybe in future, I'm really interested to grow some berries because there are different berries, you know, in the internet, which can actually go not just like in a horizontal surface, just like in a vertical one, like vines. They can curl or whatever, and it's really interesting. They could be like a decorative plant on your balcony.
I suspect you could try growing a vine on your balcony, but maybe it might be too cold for the winter. I don't know. I have to think about that.
Yeah, I think when you actually Russian, it's kind of problematic to grow whatever you want because we have the problematic weather. We have winter, Russian winters. I guess no one can survive it with Russians, and it's really sad. For now, actually, I look at my perfect herbs, and I understand that to survive, I need to keep them inside my flat, and they could actually get lack of light or like wind or whatever, and they can die. And now my little green babies, don't do it to me. But now it's summer, so I enjoy every moment spent with them.
And rosemary, though, is how big is your rosemary bush? Because it's a shrub. You realise that, don't you?
Oh, yeah. But my actually rosemary is about maybe 5 centimeters tall for now.
Oh,
yeah, just like a baby rosemary. Yeah, just really, 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 baby. And I like it that way. Maybe then in the future it would grow. Of course, it will grow bigger and longer, but I will cut it and put it in my tea and enjoy.
Yes, you'll need to bring your rosemary, because it is a bush, a little tree. You'll have to bring it inside in the winter, and it will continue to grow, but you'll have to keep it under control, because otherwise it will fill your balcony if you're not careful.
Oh, okay.
Eventually.
It's actually really
so you have
good.
to keep getting bigger and bigger pots for it as well.
I actually never guessed that pot is important. I know that in my experience, because I'm actually the beginner of it. The pot is important when you actually, with the start, when you see it sprouted, and you need to put them in a pot. And then actually I should change it again.
Yes, not for things like basil, which is an annual crop, but for your rosemary bush, as it gets bigger, it's going to get what's called root bound. So if you lift the plant out of the pot, you'll see that the roots are all tangled up and are pushing at the edge of the pot. So at that point, you need to put it into a bigger pot with more soil.
Okay.
But you're all right. I mean, the moment you said yours is only 5 centimeters tall, so it'll be fine for the moment.
Be fine
next year.
Next year. Oh, yeah, next year.
Next year will be fine.
I think it would be really good.
Yeah. And so you also grow tomatoes, which of course are the natural partner with basil, delicious, and olive oil.
Yes, I know about this information, so it was my decision to start growing them. I pay attention to cherry because I've read that it would be not more than 40 centimeters long, and I think it's a perfect condition for balcony, just like, I don't know, a kalanchoe flower or whatever, just like a little plant you keep inside the flat. But for now, yes, we have about maybe 25 centimeters long, no flowers.
Tall?
Yes, tall, yes. No flowers.
No flowers yet.
But leaves are really green, juicy or whatever. They're strong. And I'm proud of them. Just like, yes, grow stronger.
Well, tomato plants, they say, I mean, you've been told they'll only grow to 40 centimeters. They'll keep growing, actually. They will keep growing upwards. But what you do is you stop it. You pinch out the growing tip, that's the top part, and that'll stop it growing anymore when it's reached the height you want it to. But the thing you must do with all tomato plants is snip out or pull out the side shoots. So what will happen is you've got a straight stem, and then you've got leaves that come out the sides, and then you'll get another thing come from the stem, which is upon which the little flowers will grow, and then the tomatoes. Now, between the stem and this shoot with the little tomatoes growing on, well, another stem will begin to grow. If you leave that, that's the start of another tomato plant, right? And that'll start growing all over the place. And what you'll end up with is a massive green plant with loads of tiny little green things that size of a pea, which will never ripen. So you'll get a big plant and no tomatoes. So you must pull out all these side shoots as you go along.
Oh, okay. It's a
Yeah. And quite possibly, as the plant begins to grow, you start to pull off the bottom leaves as well. They'll start to go a little bit yellow. Pull them off, and you want to keep once you've got your tomatoes green, they're beginning to ripen, start snipping off all the green stuff, because you want the sun to get to the tomatoes, not the plant, so they'll actually ripen and go red.
Oh, that's actually good. I know more now, actually. Thank you for your advice. Speaking about actually yellow leaves, some of my basils, some of my parsley, they got some yellow leaves. Why actually is it so?
With parsley, see, parsley is another plant you can keep perennially, and if you were to pull it out, it's got a tapering root, because it's related to a parsnip, funny enough, and you keep that one over winter. You have to be careful with what sort of fertilizer. So what you put them presumably in potting compost. You bought the bags of compost from
that's it.
Well, you must remember that in in that compost there isn't that much nutrients. It's just to get the things germinated. You then have to feed them. Okay.
What can I feed them?
Well, I think if you go to any of the supermarkets, you'll find small bags of just fertilizer. It's granular. Just put a few bits of that in, not very much. Or you can buy small bottles of plant food for plants inside. You can put that in it, which you usually have to dilute. And the other thing is you can buy bottles of liquid feed for tomatoes, which you'll probably need later. Don't start using that until the tomatoes begin to form. Right?
Okay.
But you do need to add fertilizer, because your potting compost has got very little in it, very little food value.
Oh, okay. What do you think about feeding plants with your home food? For example, my mom, she does like this. She boils potatoes, and later, when she put out the potatoes of the pan, she adds this water after potatoes to the plants, and she thinks that it's okay. Have you got such
I've never done that.
techniques?
Let me think.
It's a Russian life hack.
I mean, I suppose, yeah. Why wouldn't it work? You as long as it's cold, as long as you let it go cold, don't pour boiling water on. No, that wouldn't work. And so you've got you've got potato matter in the water, which has been boiled, so the cells have been broken down. Yeah, it won't do it any harm, put it that way. And there's probably some food value in that and the actual boiling process will have started the breakdown of the cellular matter, which is what plants live on, dead other plants, if you see what I mean. So yes, why not?
That's cool. So I think actually my mom does it because she's kind of lazy, but now, yes, she's, like an expert of greens and plants. That's great.
Tea bags also might work.
Tea bags?
Use tea bags, yeah.
How can I use it?
Well, I think it's just dig it into the compost, just leave it in there, because as it breaks down, it's boiled dead leaves, isn't it? So.
Okay, so I can have a cup of drink. And then later, just put this inside of this paper bag, just like inside the soil.
Yeah, tear the bag open. You don't want the paper in there. Wouldn't put too much in, because of course tea has got a lot of acid and tannin in it. If you were growing plants like azaleas or rhododendrons, which you wouldn't try to do on your balcony, because you wouldn't be able to get on your balcony, but they like an acid soil, you put a lot in there, or camellias.
Okay.
But these are all flowers, they're big shrubs, so you wouldn't want to try that on your balcony.
Yeah, I've got a little cactus on my balcony too. Yes, it's okay.
Cactus might like it though.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll try
But
it.
don't overwater the cactus, whatever you do, because it'll rot.
Okay. So speaking about different moist watering and etc. Here actually in Russia we use kind of all the citizens, I guess, in flat who works and etc. who doesn't have enough time on farming. So it's for me because it's kind of a hobby. I water it just like every time I see my plant, I water it. In the morning, it's okay. Okay, in the evening, it's okay. If it's hot, okay, you want to drink, I water it. Is it good actually approach on watering plants?
Right then, so some plants don't like being overwatered, and they're things that have if you say, for instance, onions, if you did that to them, they might rot. But a balcony, in my experience, limited as it is, can get very hot, and it will get very hot today and tomorrow. And tomatoes and lettuces and basil will need a fair amount of water. Herbs, most of them, come from Mediterranean countries, therefore they will survive a bit of drought. Tomatoes, if you're not careful with them, if you water them irregularly, what you'll get is the tomatoes will split, or they will get brown rot, which is the base of the tomato. We'll pick it off and you'll find a brown patch, and that will gradually spread, and the thing will be basically you won't be able to use it. So the thing about tomatoes is you want to keep the compost around them moist but not soaking. And of course, if they're in a pot, it's not a very big space, not a very big container, and can dry out very quickly. So if you water it, say, first thing in the morning, and it's a hot day like this, and you forget to do it in the evening, and you forget to do it the following morning, that's when you've got a problem. I saw in, what's that shop called? Shop sells all sorts of things.
Is it
cheap.
green? Like fixed price?
Fixed price, that's the one.
Yeah.
Fixed price sell these plastic trays that you put inside your back door or your door to put your boots in winter. So you come in and there's snow on them, so you're going to get snow running all over the floor. So I bought about 4 of those, and I put my pots into them, and then I fill those up with water. So the water soaks up into the pot during the day, so you just keep those topped up, so you don't really have to worry about watering every day to keep the trays topped up. And of course, this time of year, the one you were using in winter to collect the snow off your boots, you've got to have somewhere to put it because you're not using it at the moment. Put it on your balcony, put your pot in it.
It's actually great. I've got some of these black trays at my home, so I will come home today and actually do this. It's great. Actually, what makes water to soak actually above, I don't know, vertically? Should I need some kind of drainage here?
No. It'll naturally, the compost naturally soaks it up, and the roots will go down after the water. They'll find out where the water is, and if you were to lift your pot up later, you'll find the roots will be coming out the bottom of the pot.
Oh, that's great, actually. I have never watched it in any YouTube video, so it's actually like exclusive info for our Big Apple School Club. So that's great.
So now you love butternut squash.
Yes.
Now, or other squashes, tigler, pumpkins. I wouldn't try growing pumpkins on your balcony because they're just too big. I grew one once for my pigs, and I didn't mean to let it get this big, and it was so large I actually needed help lifting it.
Wow. Do you remember how many kilos were they?
Oh no, I didn't have anything to weigh it on big enough. But the pigs, they ate it within an hour.
Oh, it was okay.
But there are other squashes you could grow. You mentioned you like zucchini. Courgette. You could try a climbing courgette. Not ones that spread. You'll need to have some sort of framework for them to climb up. You could buy some, bamboo things and tie them together. And you could let them clamber up the wall. And again, you pick off excess leaves and excess foliage, And then you should get and keep picking them. Pick them when they're small, and they'll keep coming. And there is one other tip. While I think of it, all your fruit crops, vegetable crops, will produce flowers.
Yes.
And the flowers need to be fertilized. Now, what floor do you live on?
12.
12. Now, I think, I might be wrong, but I think the higher up you go, the less small pollinating insects there'll be.
Yes, that's it.
So what you need to do is get a children's paintbrush and just stick it into each flower, and you'll be doing the job of all the little insects that fertilize them, so you'll get fruit. Just to make sure, you probably have enough insects flying around anyway. There were plenty in my flat last night, and that's probably why I've been bitten.
Welcome to Russia.
You're welcome to Russia. But it's just in case, particularly with things like courgettes, as we call them, or even melons, but I won't try growing them, they're too big. That's something else you could try.
Should I use just like the simplest toothbrush or no paintbrush?
Children's paintbrush, tiny one. Or the things you women use for painting their eyeliner.
Doing makeup, applying beauty to the face.
That's one of those things we do. Which when you finish with it, one that's old.
Okay, that's great. And should I actually paint them with stuff randomly, or from one flower to another?
Just dab to one flower to another. Just dab. That's all.
That would be great.
Because you're spreading the pollen around. It only takes a tiny grain of pollen to do it. So, what you said, you had flowers?
Yes, I've got like daisies. My mom brought me them, and she goes, "This is flowers for a balcony." And I said, "Okay." So for now, they have no flowers. They're just like a tiny, about maybe 3 centimeters tall, plants, and I can't even say what they are going to be, how they would look like. But mom says that they are daisies. Okay, the daisies.
Okay.
That's it. I think it's possible to grow different flowers on your balcony. For example, my mom, she plants roses.
Really?
From time to time, yes, just like rose bushes, not really big, but about maybe 30 centimeters tall. And she's got them inside her balcony. She's got a big balcony. Just kind of terrace or whatever, and it's full with windows. She keeps it open so the fresh air for her plants, and roses are amazing here. And when you step in on her balcony, it's just like inside a garden.
Oh, fantastic!
Yes, and it's great. And I think for her it's kind of hobby because she really likes to do different stuff with these roses. She likes watering. She likes, adding different different food, plant food,
compost. Compost and plant food.
Yes, and then she actually adores it, gardening. As far as I remember, she's always gardening. Gardener. She was a gardener all her life, and for now, actually, she is also. And for me, I discovered this trait maybe when I turned a lot of age. I turned 30, not far away, and yes, I felt the call of the land that I need it really hard. I need to plant, I need a seed, I need soil. Put it inside, water it hard, and then enjoy the process. Do you remember your age? When you understood, then you really needed the call of the land inside your veins?
There was never a time when there wasn't, because my father was an extremely keen gardener, and from as soon as I could walk, I was dragooned into helping him pull things up, weeding, planting. Apparently there was one occasion when I was about 3 when I'd taken the initiative and done some gardening on my own while he was at work. And my mother was horrified to see that I'd pulled up all the bedding plants he'd previously put in the night before, thinking they were weeds, of course.
Of course.
So she had to quickly put them back in before he came home. But yeah, I've always had my fingers in the soil, as it were. Yes, that's the way it's been. What you were saying, flowers. One thing I'm trying is sweet peas.
Oh,
Yeah, because they climb, you see.
Yes.
So if you've got
very
something,
decorative.
yeah, if you've got tomatoes and things, you've got to put sticks in to support them. If you get the sweet pea to clamber around it with the little flowers, and you get the fragrance from them.
Oh,
So you know, in a small space like a balcony, it might work. That's
it's
an
actually
idea.
great. So informative. I really like it. So speaking about you in flowers, John, actually, are you interested in them? Some decorative, not useful crops, some decorative ones.
Oh yes. Back in my garden home, we have a lot of flowers. Yes, dahlias in particular. We've got some very big dahlia beds. Annual bedding plants, grow a lot of those, like marigolds and petunias and geraniums. I have a couple of rose gardens. That the trouble with the roses where I live is that the deer, olen, are very interested in roses. In fact, they eat them, and we have quite a lot of wild deer in southern England, and they will just eat your rose bushes. I planted 500 once, and they looked wonderful the first couple of years. We couldn't understand what's wrong with them. And we were pruning them correctly, we were feeding them. And then one day I saw a couple of deer in the back garden. They were just happily eating all my rose bushes. And so I stopped planting rose bushes unless it's really close to the house. And I've replaced them all with dahlias, because deer do not eat dahlias, fortunately.
That's great. Actually, wild days. I think it's cool. Here I have only wild doves in my balcony sometimes, and they try to get inside my balcony.
Really?
Yes. It was a couple of times, but still. And for me, it was like, oh, yeah, boys, go away. It's not your territory. And like this.
Well, they'll be after you. If you have sweet peas, they'll have a go at those.
Yeah, maybe I will have a chance to be, a princess of Disney, and then every, mouse or bird will come to my balcony and we will hang out together or whatever. So, do you remember your first harvest when you were a child?
Oh, wow. Yeah, I remember a school friend of mine coming around. We must have been about 7, and he was fascinated by my father's back garden. And he said, oh, you can eat all this stuff straight from the ground. And he started pulling out little carrots, which were maybe no less than that, a couple of millimeters in diameter. And saying, oh, these are delicious. So I pulling them out and eating. They were quite nice, but I don't think my father wasn't very impressed. Of
course, definitely.
Because he was waiting for these carrots to get somewhat bigger before he was going to harvest them. So yeah, I suppose that was the first time I harvested things, which again was not approved of.
That's actually cool. I also have the funny story with carrots. When I was a little girl, I thought that the edible part is green, which is above the soil, and I knew what was actually the carrot from the shop, but I've never saw it in flesh here. And yes, my grandmother said that the carrots are ready actually to eat. You can go and you can grab some for our dinner. And I went and I grabbed the green parts. And then I tasted it and cried because it wasn't actually what I expected from them to be. And actually she explained me, she showed how to actually pull them out, that the orange part is edible. And I felt much more glad with it, much more relieved that carrot is sweet and nice, and it's not a problem with me or with carrots.
Yeah, carrots have as much sugar as an apple does.
Yes?
Yeah. And did you also know that carrots aren't naturally orange? The carrots originate in Afghanistan. They're actually purple.
Oh.
Yeah, but the Dutch got hold of carrots, and this is the 16th, 17th century. They started selectively breeding them, and they developed orange carrots because the Dutch royal family is the House of orange.
Oh,
Right? William of Orange was a king of England for a while. So that is what the Dutch football team plays in orange. So they change carrots to being orange. But you can, I've seen them buy seeds for purple and I've grown them actually, purple and yellow carrots. They taste the same.
Taste the same. The color is different.
Yeah.
It's so actually interesting. And every word you pronounced, actually, I feel like I would like to try it. I would like to farm a yellow carrot. I would like to farm purple carrot.
I wouldn't try growing carrots on your balcony. It won't work.
Oh, yeah. Think of it, but maybe one day.
No, they need deeper soil, really. And then it would get too hot too quickly. You know, they'd be too extreme a temperature. Again, I wouldn't try potatoes. I'm growing a few spring onions, but I wouldn't. It's not worth growing full-size onions. One of the things you've got to think about is you've only got so much space. So the thing to grow is one, what you like, but also what's expensive. You know, so fruit, yes. Tomatoes, yes. Lettuce, yes. But potatoes, onions, you know, they're not expensive.
Yeah.
They take up a lot of room. Not bother.
Okay. So it's just like typical, I think, plants. They're not really interesting.
If you've got space outside, yes, of course.
If you've got some practical reasons to keep them on your balcony, why not? So I think for today it would be more than informative, I guess, podcast. I'm really interested in gardening and I have become more interested in it now. So thank you very much, John, for sharing all of your experience. And I dream about that you will create some kind of articles about maybe vegetable vocabulary for our students or even teachers.
Sure.
Yes, it would be just like nice because I'm really interested in it. I'm keen on know about it more like this, I've had. So thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
So let's say goodbye to our listeners. So bye-bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, see you soon in our Big Apple School.